welcome to the podcast Words Matter. Today's good podcast, we're going to talk about a really important issue that has been pretty contemporary in the last couple of weeks. The new episode is called How Language Shapes Society. And I'm here with Jair and Josue. I'm Pedro, and I'd like to welcome you to the podcast. Hello.
Hello, hi Pedro, hi Jair.
I'm fine.
Hello,
Thank
hello.
you. Hi. I wanted to start this subject with a little question. So, a couple of weeks ago, the LGBTQ community um, started a petition to remove, to censor a specific word that they don't want in social media. They don't want it used in a couple of in the servers. They don't want it used in several cats because they think it's a slur towards them. And that made me think, does words actually affect people in general?
Okay, I think that they really do. Okay, maybe we are not using the word the way they are using in their communities, or maybe we are some of us are using the word for just a degrading meaning, just also like a way to separate ourselves from them. To justify.
Mm,
O- Okay, I think that it depends which word and how do you use it. For example, there are some words that I think that are more aggressive than others, and it depends. What do I mean when I say it depends of the way? Well, are not the same if you see a couple of boys or girls. They are just imagine that they are just walking and then you address to them as an offensive word and and maybe you are using it in an appropriate no maybe surely you are using it in a not appropriate way. Um, sometimes you can play with friends, things like that, things that you know that are not true, and you use it as something offensive, but depends also of the context that you are with your friends.
That is correct. Depends on the context and the intention.
Yeah,
well, yes, but there's a couple of times where the words aren't like used in a. They can be harmful, but people don't know because they're so used to it, especially the older generations. For example, there's been cases of people being offensive towards other types of communities or regions just because they don't know any better, and they use that kind of language because that's how society told them to. Like, for example, it's pretty common to it's just as common as, like, for example, how gender works. People expect the simplest uh, results of, like, a boy likes blue, a girl likes pink. Um, it's just as weird for them to not they don't comprehend anything that is out of the norm because that's what it is for them. It's the norm. It's not like the things have changed in, let's say, as hundreds of years ago. No, these kinds of changes are really pretty recent. Some people can't handle it. Like, for example, the LGBT community is pretty different to what they used to see and as the norm because they are people that have different sexual preferences or different ways to hold themselves to. Like, for example, there are people that isn't comfortable with the use of he or she, So they
Mhm.
prefer they prefer to be considered non-binary, and that's it
Correct.
is what makes people like confused because they don't know how to act in those cases, but they don't know what words to use. So that's why they use the words that are offensive for them, for those communities, but they don't know any better.
Just as a comment, and many people, especially the older people, they refuse new terms and new ideologies. That in this case, well, is about the community, the LGBT community. Obviously, they will refuse it.
That is correct. Everything outside of the norm is scoffed, is shunned. Okay, they are very, very, very pushing to change, and we have to be wary of that. Okay, unfortunately, some people will not don't want to change, don't want to be to include their communities, and that's a very sad thing.
Well, yes, because that's like I said, words tends to shape society because this is how a lot of different products from books, movies, TV shows, those shape generations. Like for example, like in old movies and TV shows, it was pretty common to see the woman like a fragile person that is shy. Is pretty and really obvious that it's a sharp contrast to
Mhm.
the man who those products who is like strong, serious, brave. And in some stories, like for example, the very early the Disney princesses movies, it was pretty common to see like the woman in a role where she's shy and beautiful and really tame in contrast to the man who is serious and heroic. And
That's
the
correct.
goal of the movie is to show the woman being rescued by the man in movies
Mhm.
such as the Sleeping Beauty or or Cinderella. No, no. Like in that movie, it is pretty clear what's the role in those cases. The woman is the damsel in distress, and the man is the hero. And that
And
is something. mm, Yes, that is something
Cor-
that. Sorry. Yes.
No, that's correct. Okay, always as the damsel in distress, as the submissive role, and the male as the active role, the one who saves the day.
Yes, and that actually shapes society because there's been different cases of like for example, if a woman is strong, if she's a muscular woman, people are going to be confused like why does looks like that? Shouldn't she be like more have a more slim body? Or when women have have short hair, are like, why does she have hair like a man? Or
Mhm.
vice versa. Why does a man have really long hair that looks girly? How they this it's like all of this shape society. People think that anything out of what they are used to see is out of the norm. It's weird. It isn't right according to them.
That's correct.
Yes, that you haven't did anything to think about it
no,
No,
because
it's
I
just our attitudes are learned from home. And going back now to the expressions, uh, I keep my idea. Expressions are learned from home and are words that even hurt more than a really weapon or a knife. Depends on the people, right? But in my personal opinion, words usually are more aggressive.
That's correct. The effect is more
Uh,
lingering.
yes, yes, that's what this is all about. So how some words can actually affect people regarding things like gender, um, things like the people who we are, how do we handle things that we don't know, and regarding if all of those kinds of attitudes about us as a society. That
Mm.
is actually really what I wanted to know about this podcast, about what you think all about all of this, and I really appreciate your time here. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Words Matter, and thank you so very much for accompanying me here in this podcast. I hope I see you soon again.
Thank
The
you.
pleasure was mine so much.
Mm, yes, bye.